All right, good morning. Another Sunday morning coding stream. All right, so let's do this. So many things. All right, so what are we doing today? So last time we had gotten as far as getting a container build. There we go. Version 0.1.1. Yeah, there we go. And you have returned. Well, welcome back. You mind if I just call you Loyal? I am Loyal. BTW is a little long to say every time. Why not? Unless you have a preferred name. Anyway. Yeah. Welcome to the coding stream. What are we doing? So, GitHub action workflow. Twitch wouldn't give me any of these. Let's see. Thoughts. This coffee's not working. Hold on. Okay, so we got the image built. I did actually do something on this in between streams, which I rarely do. Specifically figure out how to actually like SSH in to a server that I have for this project without leaking my IP address or the IP address of the server on stream. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So we're there. And then I started thinking a little bit about like how are we gonna get like here I've just git cloned the project over to this folder on the server. I don't actually want to do that. That's not like how I want to do the deploy. What I want to do is I want to have some scripts, and I'm probably just going to use Docker Compose for right now on the server too, which there's Docker Swarm and there's Kubernetes and there's other things. We want to have some scripts, yeah. But essentially the way I'm thinking this deploy process is going to work, which, I've been working on this project for quite some time. We've been, on the stream working on this project, looking at it for quite some time, just running locally. And a friend of mine who's been wanting this app too has been asking, well, when is it going to be available, right? So I want to get that done. So anyway, so the thought here is to just set up. So we have an existing Docker Compose file, right? Docker Compose, but this is like set up for local dev, right? So it's just using it's using a data volume that's not tied to like a folder on disk, which means it's kind of ephemeral in a way, sort of. Various other things that are not ready for prime time in this Docker Compose, but we can make a better one to actually run on the server, and then make a script that we can invoke that will basically do Docker Compose pull and Docker Compose restart or something along those lines, so that we can refer to this image in instead of using build, we would just I'm not going to change this file, but it would look like that, right? Well, like that. So yeah, so we'll have a separate Docker Compose file for that. We'll have a script set up that pulls down any new changes and restarts services. So AKA does a deploy And then what I want to do is I don't want to just like, how do we get the script on the server? We could just like SCP it there, you know, whatever. But I do want something that if we make, basically I want to be able to change that script and have that script live in source control and have it as part of the deploy, upload, you know, any updates to that script and then run it. So that's this here. And then, you know, if we get to it, a thing that I thought would be cool, I know you can have like multiple instances of a service. I think I've only done that in swarm mode, but we'll see what we can do here, right? In terms of having like multiple web app container instances. So instances of the service, just again, it's just running on a single server, but so that we should be able to do like kind of a blue-green sort of deploy. In other words, that we could pull down the latest image and restart one of the containers and wait for it to come up, and then restart the other one with the newest version. But if we're gonna have multiple web app services, then we'll need a reverse proxy, you know, something like Nginx in front of it. So again, I don't know if we'll get to that today, or if that was something that maybe there'll be roadblocks. It's been a while since I've done that kind of setup, but that's what these last 2 points are about. So we'll see how far we get on that today. Some other things we could start looking at if we have time. I think probably this one next. So implement. I don't know. I think this first version, like once I get it deployed and accessible, I'm not sure if I'll have. I may want to specifically have like an invite. I don't know what that is, but invite code for signups, so that just it doesn't have random people signing up, because it's not really ready for prime time, even if it's on the internet. Like I still need to do some other things here for it to be really truly ready. But you know, if I can control who's signing up, so it's just, you know, a limited set of people that are like testing it, that might be okay. Okay, so that's a plan for the next couple of hours. Okay, so copy basic Docker and compose into so what I was thinking we would do here is have a separate folder for kind of like deploy, right? How do we deploy this, that sort of thing, and that would just be like a deploy script, like a shell script, and a Docker compose file. And then that folder, do I want to call it? I guess it doesn't matter. Let's not overthink it. We'll just call it infrastructure because that's what I said I was going to call it. And we're just going to create an empty file here called make it docker compose.yaml. Did I do YAML or YAML? YAML. Okay. Why would I do that? Let's be consistent. And then we'll have like a deploy.sh. And so this folder is what I intend to eventually have the GitHub action copy, like SCP, to the server. I did find some helpful blog posts that kind of outlines how this might work specifically, so I don't have to remember how to do all this stuff. So I'll probably be using this as reference. Yeah. So anyway, so let's copy and paste this, and this is going to be a little bit different for our actual deployed thingy. We're going to want this bit right here. We love not understanding not a single word that's happening, but it's calming music, so shrug. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the music. Calming voice. Well, thanks. I think it's kind of funny because I know that as I start talking about some of this stuff, I get a little excited. When the label of the stream, it's like a chill Sunday morning coding stream. But anyway, if you do have questions, if you can pick a word that you want to know more about something that I'm saying, let me know. I can probably try to explain better. Yeah. So right now I'm trying to recall how this Docker Compose thing is supposed to work. And that works. Because what I want to do is I'm gonna have a service for the database that this application uses, and it should be accessible to the web app, but I don't want it accessible by anything else. I don't want someone else to be able to connect to my database from the outside world. So I just need to remember how this is supposed to work. Yeah, something like that. Two custom networks are named. Yep. Health check would be good. Oh yeah, what version are we looking at here? Okay. Yeah, default network. Yeah, links. Instead of using the default app network. like I've done this before, but it's been a number of years, and I just want to find something authoritative that is going to confirm how specifically this is going to work. Oh, hey, you're using Docker Compose from. Might be relevant. Yeah, don't use the host network. Yeah, don't do that. So here's a question that maybe we can answer, right? So in the doc here, there was something about you can just default use a pre-existing network. You say external. So what if you don't? Okay, right. So top level networks key. Back to this part. So you can just do this, but what does this actually do, right? What are the qualities of this network if you don't give it any options? By default, Compose provides external connectivity to networks. Internal, when set to true, allows creating an externally isolated network, as in a network that's isolated and not externally accessible. I think what that means. So let's try this. Okay, so backend, internal, true. I just had a thought. What? Okay, service level networks key. Right, so we can have a service connected to more than one network, right? It's got to work that way, right? Yes. Okay. Let's call this one front end. That's cute, Copilot, but that's not what I want because external means something else. It's not the opposite of internal. Specifically, it's more like internal false. There we go. And then as far as the volume, we also want to have the database volume mapped to an actual location on a disk. That way the database store, that is all of the files that Postgres manages, live somewhere on, at a path. Volumes, driver ops, external. Okay. That's probably the easiest way to do this. Right, so this is going to allow us on the server to set up the volume manually, and then locally when we're testing this before we upload this and try it on the server, I can also create this volume locally, and those can be stored in different places. Like locally, I could just make a DB volume, DB data volume for this, and it doesn't have to be mounted anywhere. I think. Do I understand volumes correctly? Let me double check something. Docker creates volume. Creates a new volume that containers can consume and store data in. Examples. Okay, let's look at options. Driver. Refer to the options. That's this page, isn't it? Great. Local driver on Windows does not support any options. Local driver on Linux supports similar options to the Linux mount command. Alright, this creates a tempfs volume. Okay. So locally I should be able to just create a something. Let's see. Of course, the drivers available aren't specified, but okay. So we let's see. Okay, so something I noticed, actually, going back to here, there was some point here where it was talking about what the actual underlying volume is called. Right, so the volume that's being created by Docker Compose is not actually called DB data. It uses the service name. So the top level name property is defined by the specification as the project name to be used. If you don't set one, defined by the specification as the project name to be used if you don't set one explicitly. What? Seems backwards. Right. Okay. Let's talk about secrets. external. Your compose file needs to explicitly grant access to the secrets to relevant services in your application. What does that mean? Okay, services. Secrets. This grants the container access to the secret and mounts it as a read-only within the container. Right. Now, putting aside the dubiousness, maybe I'm not sure if dubious is the right word, but maybe not the best thing of passing any kind of credential or secret as an environment variable to a service. Changing that here is going to take time away from getting things done, which is not the best thing. But unless I can find a way to have Docker pass in, nope, okay, not seeing it. I was hoping there was a way for me to like externally define a secret and then have said secret passed as an environment variable. But that doesn't seem like a thing we can do. Let's keep looking. Docker compose secrets environment variables. It's been searched for. How to use secrets? Okay, simple. So the idea here is that you would be able to, within your whatever is running inside of this container, it would be able to read from a file. And that's all well and good if your, whatever you're running is set up to do that. But okay, so we are going to add something to the backlog here. Change how we handle credentials in server Docker compose. I'll come back to that. Now this is more of a kind of I guess you could call it like a defense in depth sort of thing. So we're going to make sure that one, the database is not going to be externally accessible on the server. But if somehow someone were to get access to that, we don't want our password to be Postgres. For right now, this is fine because there's no real data in it. There's not going to be any real data in it for some time. This will be fixed before that ever is a situation that comes to pass. Yeah, so for the moment, we're just going to leave this like this. Don't do this in real life. don't put credentials in files that are unencrypted. Don't use default passwords. There's a lot of things not to do that I'm doing right now, just so that we can move on. And the other thing is that when I do set this up properly, of course, I'll need to actually set up that credential, and that's not something I want to show on stream anyway, in terms of what that actually is. And what I'll need to do is I'll need to do something. Actually, I wonder, this Postgres image. Let's see, Docker Hub. Yeah, cool. I don't want to sign in. I mean, the other oh, here we go. Hey. Ooh. Look at you. All right, never mind. We can at least do this part the right way. All right. Postgres password. What was it actually called? Hold on. I don't have enough. I don't have enough screen. Postgres pass. Why? I mean, it's just 2 more letters. Is that so hard? Okay. Anyway, I don't know what I'm yelling about. All right, so right, so that does that. I mean, it's still in plain text here. What we need to do is just update our image now. So that's one less thing. The other thing I was thinking about as I was pulling this up is that like this is only relevant, like setting the password's only relevant on like the first start. You know, in practice, like we could just like start the container once and then remove this. Like this doesn't need to be here. This only needs to be here when the DB comes up for the first time. So this is, woo, we can use the password file, and this is kind of an example of how you can pass an environment variable that gives a path to where the secret is. What we need to do is something like this for our web app, right? But to do that means we would need to change like how we're getting the database URL. So we'll come back to that. But at least I'm showing on stream, you know, kind of sort of how you would do things the right way, partially. Okay, secrets, networks, volumes. So we want, so this needs to be on the front end and back end network, right? Because the web app needs to be accessible by the web proxy that we're eventually going to have, and for now it just needs to be accessible, which the front end network will be. Right. So, and then it also needs to be on the backend network to be able to talk to the database, whereas the database needs to be just on the backend network. Eventually, what we'll have is we'll have like a, we'll have a proxy. Yeah, like that. It depends on what app is not quite right. We don't actually need that. But yeah, so something like that. We'd actually have to provide an nginx config when we do that. So I'll just leave that commented out for now. Okay. Let's also things to do to set up an environment for deploy. Okay, fair. That's fair, Copilot. Create a new user. No, we're not on Windows. We don't need chocolatey. It's a good guess. Yeah, well, the Docker thing is true, I guess, technically. But that's not where I was going with this. What I was thinking about, though, is specifically... let's see. Get domain. Get infrastructure directory and put... Yep. Nope, we're not doing Terraform. Create infrastructure secrets Postgres password. Nope. What else are we doing here? So we need to create this database volume, this Docker volume rather. Docker volume create. Something like that, but that's not right. Right, so if we go back to the docs, options and volume. So here we go, examples. Driver local. Is local what I want? I don't know. Let's you know, we're on the server. Docker volume create dash help. Okay. Can we get more help if we specify the driver? Nope. How does one find out what all the options are for a specific driver, and or what the list of drivers are? Options. Okay. And then the other thing I want to know, so the volumes, there we go, name, set a custom name for this volume. Can it be, this name can be used to reference volumes that contain special characters. It will not be scoped with the stack name, right? So if we don't specify an explicit name, this is going to it's going to take DB data and it's going to take the name from here and it's going to combine them together some way. But if we specify a name like that, then that should be good. So let's imagine local-o help. Yeah, I know it's an invalid option. What are the valid options? Oh, created a volume. Help. RM. There we go. I have to specify the full name, huh? There we go. All right. All right. So you can give it no name, no options, and it will make a thing. That is a design decision. Okay, so Docker volume drivers. Docker storage drivers, here we go. No. Volume plugins? They're just the standard Linux mount options. Okay. Sure. Yeah, that's the equivalent of that. A bind mount. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that this is, I think, what I'm looking for. All right. So then we would be able to path for DB data. Yeah. Okay, there's no Redux. Good try, Copilot. Okay, so those are the things that we know so far that we need to do in order for this to work. Is we need the infrastructure folder in place so that we can run these commands. We need to create a file named that contains the and then we need to create the volume, right? For where the DB data is going to live on disk, so that it's just not living inside of the Docker container itself, or just kind of like a volume that's just in the control of Docker that, you know, we might accidentally remove, not thinking about, oh, what's this volume? Let's remove it. Anyway, okay, so what else do we need to do here? We do eventually need to have this proxy. Like, this is what it's gonna, we're gonna, a thing that we do need to do at some point is set up TLS, aka HTTPS. All these DevOps things that are just occurring to me now for some reason. Set up TLS for server. Yep. But yeah. So this is not going to be done. We're not going to have all this done today, but we're gonna make some progress. Okay. So this is at least enough that we can let's so the reason I'm putting this in the README, by the way, instead of, like, I know I have this deploy.sh right here. Well, these things are kind of just one-time things that need to happen, right? So, yeah. Yeah, so let's try this command out. Where are we gonna stick the Postgres data? So I have another user on this system called deploy. Do I want... How do I want to do this? Yeah, I want to use that. So it'll be kind of in a well-known location. Is this the only way of doing this, or the best way of doing this? I don't know. I mean, I think you could just have a volume, not like a bound, like what I'm doing here, but you could just have a volume. You could just do this, and that would work. It's just something to satisfy, to make me happy. So we're gonna do this. Well, first of all, this folder doesn't exist, so that's probably not gonna work unless I do this first. Missing required option type. I don't suppose we have. There we go. How long has it been since I've looked at a man page? Yeah, mount O binds. What's the problem here? Missing required option type. Is that's coming from the driver, right? Driver local. Yeah, probably. Huh. Mount bind. Huh, actually. No, right. So we're... Yeah. What I'm essentially trying to do is the equivalent of like this here, where I'm specifying like a target, but because I've explicitly said that the volume should be external, I am responsible for provisioning said volume. Type none. See if that works. And why would I want to be responsible for provisioning this myself? Well, because then I can give this different options on different servers. Like so, on the server, on where I'm actually deploying this, I can do this, and that works. Now there's a volume, and it, like the contents of that is actually just whatever's in var lib postgres data, which is nothing right now. But that will be good. Okay, so all right. Can we move on yet? All right. So copy basic Docker Compose YAML into infrastructure folder. Write script to run on server to run Docker Compose to pull changes and restart services. Okay, so that's what this script is for. Yeah, Copilot, you got it right. That's what the script is used for. Deploy the application to the server, sort of. No, we're not doing any of that. So really, all we really want to do is we want to do docker compose pull restart. Hold on. Restart running containers. Is there something else? Is there a different command, or is restart what I want? There's scale. Create and start containers. Scale, restart. Pause. Yeah, so scale's interesting. Set number of containers to run for a service. This command is deprecated. So I know when using, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. I know when using Docker Compose before in swarm mode, there's a thing you can do where you can update containers. Let's see, scale. Yeah, Docker Compose up. Options. Scale overrides the scale setting in the compose file if present. Right, so what we're talking about is on the web app, we could potentially have like scale 2 to have 2 of these containers running, right? So then we'd have our Nginx proxy in front of those 2 containers. So when we do Docker Compose up, is there a way to, or I guess not up. Up is not the right command. That's just where I ended up. Start services, stop services, unpause. Restart. Restarts all stopped and running services or the specified services only. It may be something that we can't do in this. So in Docker Swarm. Wait, no, that's those are all Swarm setup options. There's a separate set of things. Docker service, right? Update. Yeah, this command works with the Swarm orchestrator. And roll back. Okay. Yeah. So I think if we want to do these last things, or at least that, or at least the last one, be able to essentially have the running application and then restart one of the 2 instances, wait for it to come up, and then restart the other one. To do that, we would need to use Swarm if we want to use Docker Compose. So I don't know if we'll get to that today. That might be a later thing. Okay, so we don't need to restart everything. You know, given we have web app and we have DB, and maybe we'll have proxy. We could probably just have this deploy restart web app. Or no, I mean you could use Docker Compose scale, I guess, to like scale down and then up again, but then there's no way to really update the one of the two containers. Okay, so this is going to be fine for right now. To do, we want to run Prisma migrations somewhere in here. Probably after, right? Because then at least if you're introducing a code change and a database change, you can at least have your new code change be designed to support before the schema change and after the schema change. Whereas if you want to do the migrations, aka database changes first, then you would have needed to make those code changes, or your migrations, however many there are, your changes to your database, would need to be designed in such a way as to be compatible with both the versions of the code, which is harder, maybe. No, we won't be running Prisma C Copilot. Okay. Right, so it's been a lot of talking to get to 2 lines here and some copy paste. But we got some different things here, some different things going on. I've figured out like some commands and stuff. Is there anything else that we need here? Right, so we're gonna have this deploy to sh. We're gonna have this. Let me. Here, I'll just open a branch here called devops work. There we go. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to actually commit that file. Thank you. Right, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to commit this. I'm going to go to the server. I have checked out version of the repo, which again is not how we're doing deploys, but just for the purposes of getting something so that we can test. I have that. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, so let's say first pass at infra setup. I'll push that, and then over here. Let's make some space here. There we go. Git checkout. DevOps work. Cool. All right, so we have an infrastructure folder. We have a README. Okay, we're gonna create a Postgres. I can type really. Postgres password. Actually, that file that we created before is not even in the right place because it's supposed to be in a secrets folder. Yeah, I don't need that. Okay. So get infrastructure directory. We did that. Create a file. We did that. Oh. Just did the same thing again, right? So it needs to be inside of secrets. Docker volume create stuff, we already did that. And then Docker compose up. I hope this is not going to show any IP addresses. Service name must be a mapping, not a string. Really? Service name? What do you mean? Okay, let's just remove name. Remove custom name from Docker Compose. Not exactly sure what that's about. Scrolling. There we go. Pulling without specifying how to reconcile divergent branches is discouraged. Yeah, we shouldn't, at least on the server. One, on the server, we should not be doing a lot of stuff in Git. And two, we should not be making merges. Alright, so anyway. Does it work now? Nope. Unsupported config option for networks backend. What do you mean? I should look at the docs again. Docker compose file reference. Services, image, profiles. So what was the complaint? Didn't like networks. Huh. Unsupported config option for networks backend. What do you mean? Docker compose version 1.25. Okay. Two 2.18. Interesting. Right. Great. Docker compose file format versions. Legacy versions of Compose, Compose v1. Here we go. So Docker version 20.10. Okay. Okay. Right, so that was 1.25 apparently. Compose release notes. Here's a rabbit hole. What were we on? 1.25? From 3 years ago? One dot 25.0. Great. Okay. Yeah, didn't I, yeah. Great. I see. All right, let's do some Docker update stuff. Yay. Well, I'll do this again just for thoroughness. Did this just the other day. That's what I get for maintaining a server again. Oh, that was... Alright. Sudo rm etc apt key rings, whatever nonsense I just put in there. Yeah, I mean rmdir. Jeez. Okay. Yay, copy paste commands from the internet and run them. That should be fine. Nope. Yeah, let's just use the... Okay. Oh, don't like that. Okay, so we are... Okay, that should be fine. I mean, it's not like I don't trust docs.docker.com, but no reason not to read through what I'm about to run. Alright, seems like the copy button doesn't seem to want to work, so I'll just do that myself. Alright, so we're going to remove old things and install new things. Package names are great. Okay. Whatever you say, Docker. All right. I suspect if we did want like Docker Swarm stuff to work, I'd probably want to do this upgrade anyway. Fancy. All right, can we back up a little bit? Does this work now? Nope. Docker compose version? Version. No, version. Yes. Still old. Okay, so I'm going to log out. I'll try SSHing again. Maybe it's just a path issue. Nope. Interesting. Apt-get. What is... Update, upgrade, install, clean, check, source, download, changelog. Oh, not apt-get, just apt. Show. Is there a remove command? There we go. Remove Docker compose. Yes. All right. So these instructions. Oh, I see. There's Docker compose plugin. I'm guessing there was a bit of a conflict there. Sudo apt-get install. Let's try installing that again. Sudo apt auto remove. Yes. Okay, let's try removing it and installing it again. Interesting. Okay, there's not a Docker compose there anymore. Prerequisites. Maybe I should have done the prerequisites first. Well, I got there eventually. Let's rerun this command. Let's rerun. Let's uninstall everything. Yeah, let's just uninstall everything and reinstall it. Yeah. Yay, DevOps. Not really. Oops, broke something. Container restart triggered by. Okay, it's fine now. Docker version 24.0.2. That doesn't exist. Okay. Shouldn't it exist at this point? What does this Docker Compose plugin do? Ah. Aha. Wait, then why? Whatever. Okay, so Docker Compose. All right, so we need to be in the right directory. Infrastructure. Docker Compose up. Yay, we're unauthorized. Okay, but at least, so we learned a couple things. Okay, and so this command is where we're having troubles because currently we don't have permission to access that repo. Oh yeah. How do we do that? So, learn more about packages. Pulling container images. Authenticating. There we go. Right. So how this is going to work is that we're going to finally get to GitHub Actions, because the GitHub action will have a token, which should give it permission to then be able to do this operation that we're trying to do locally. Because I don't even know how I would do that. I'd have to like do that off screen to make that happen, which I could do. But let's just proceed with setting up actions stuff. So how to do that? Well, we have a GitHub folder. We have a .github folder, workflows, release. So we have steps here. All right, so we are currently doing steps basically inside of a container running at GitHub, right, on a computer there. And then what we're going to do next is we want to actually SSH onto the server that we're deploying to. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So to do that, I found this handy blog post, suddenly quite bright. Found this handy blog post that kind of outlines, here's some stuff that you would need to set up, right, in order to be able to SSH from this Docker container that GitHub Actions is running this stuff in. And there are some actions out there. This talks about like this, and I looked at a couple of things, but this seemed to like do what I wanted to do, so I stopped looking. So maybe there's something out there that literally does all this in a thing that we could just leverage, but I don't have that handy, so we're going to reuse some of these things. I've already in advance set up the secrets in GitHub, which I can show the setting here without actually showing the contents, right? So we have, I have this production environment set up in GitHub, and then environment secrets that we'll be using in our action to do the things that I just copied. So let's copy paste some things. So we're going to fix indentation. So configure SSH. Let me do this side by side. There we go. I don't need that. All right. So we have SSH host. I think I mostly got these set up with the same names. Staging is wrong, so we're just going to call this prod because that's what it is. And then it's SSH host, SSH user, SSH key, and the other bit. What's this complaining about? Context access might be invalid. Oh yeah, it is. Is SSH user. Though, again, why is this complaining? Context access might be invalid. Yeah, it might be. Copilot, can you explain? Well, that's a lot of words. Yeah, it's possible that the variable is not being set. Yeah, I could do that. But, okay, that. Cool, thanks. I do want strict host key checking. And so that's why I have this SSH host fingerprint environment secret. This actually contains like the fingerprint to identify the server that we're SSHing to. Specifically, this was something that was called out in this post where they're like, you know, if you don't want that, you would need to set up your known hosts, and we can do that. So yep, like that. All right. The little clicks, it doesn't do it every time, but the little clicks in the soundtrack sound like a notification. Distracted me for a second. Okay, so we're not doing this. We have a different set of commands to run. Can we... run sound Ubuntu latest? Great. We want to... what do we want to do next? Well, deploy is not the right word. Let's say name copy infrastructure directory to production server. That's that's a way of doing that. I don't know that we have rsync installed, and I don't know. That is interesting, though. Would that work? Here's a question. What commands are actually installed in GitHub Ubuntu Actions container installed programs? Using that about GitHub. Isn't this the page that I'm on? Okay, Ubuntu latest 22.04. Pre-installed software. Here we go. Languages and runtimes, package management, tools, CLI tools. Okay, rsync. Ah, okay. Now, I don't know that I've ever, I'm sure at some point in the last, like, what year is it? In the last 25 years, I've probably used rsync. How long has rsync been around? This doesn't have rsync installed. But I honestly don't know what those command line options do, and there's no way I'm going to take the command given by Copilot without knowing what it does and having it run, because that would be not responsible. Okay, AVZ. What do these options even do? Oh, hey, look, it's in the example, AVZ. That probably means it is not crazy to do. This would recursively transfer all files from the directory on the machine. Well, we're doing it locally. We're doing local to remote instead of remote to local. Files are transferred in archive mode, which ensures that symbolic links, devices, attributes, permissions, yada yada yada, preserved in the transfer. Compression will be used. That seems fine. What does -e do? -e. Lowercase e. RSH command. Okay. Specify the remote shell to use. What's the default? Okay, I think this is fine, and this gets us closer to where we want to be. So then the next step is to actually do the deploy, which we're gonna run. Oh yeah, SSH prod. Yeah, right, because we set up this host prod, so we want to refer to that. Is that right? Hold on, what does their example show? SSH staging and then thing. Yeah. Actually, I wonder if this... Well, I don't know. I don't know exactly how this is going to work, but we're going to find out. We don't want to actually do this, though. We want to run deploy.sh. Well, I guess we want to do this. Yeah, I know I put the little the thing here so that we could just run this, but that would require me setting the mode of the file to be executable, which is... I'm sure there's a way of doing that, like communicating that to Git to do. I just don't know that off the top of my head how to do that, and we can just run sh instead. Do we... I guess I can pass SSH user. We don't need SSH hosted here in this context. I think that's fine. Okay, so this is going to do all the things that we're doing right now in terms of prepping the Docker image. Okay, so the other thing we need to do, right? So I said before that in this context, we have the GitHub token, right? To be able to interact with the registry. But that context is not shared with the deploy script running on the server. We need to pass those things in, all right? How are we going to do that? Like, I don't want to just add it to the command line, because then if someone were on the server, you could just run ps and then you would see things like the GitHub token, and we don't want that to be visible, right? So how are we getting it from here to there? I think we'll have to do something different. So I think what I'll have to do is, for the deploy user on the server, I will manually set it up so that it has the ability to talk to the package registry. Yeah, okay. So let's double check something really quick. So here locally, so I was running Docker Compose before, and that worked for whatever reason. But does this also work this way? Yeah. Great. Okay. I'd hate for it to be a situation where, okay, now I'm running a version on the server that runs one way and then locally runs a different way. So that's good. Add steps to push to deploy to server to prod. Okay, so let's just throw this against the wall. let's just do this. Let's see. We can. I'll just create this pull request here, and I can take this branch and I'll just create another pre-release off of it. Be 0.1.2. First test of SSH commands from GitHub Actions. Alright, and so now this will trigger our workflow. Build and push release image. Let's see how this does. All right, so now we're running Docker build to build an image. hopefully we'll see that at least some of the new steps work, and hopefully we will not see any leak credentials or anything else sensitive shown in this. We'll see. Okay. This is probably going to take a minute or two. I think this is a good place to... Oh, never mind. It doesn't want me to take a break, but I'm going to take a break anyway. Let's take a look really quick at what happened. Our build failed. Why? Can't find... Failed to compile. Can't resolve styled components. Okay, interesting. So, completely unrelated to the work that we've been doing, something else just randomly decided to fail. It's great. I think... Yeah, we're using style components, but I'm guessing it was dropped as a direct dependency or something. Okay. Are we not using styled components? Can't resolve it. Car.tsx. Car.tsx. Okay. That's fun. Module not found. Cannot resolve styled components, but we're not... Next.js cannot find styled components. Well, that doesn't exist either. Yeah, turning off that makes it so that it'll search node modules, which is going to be not helpful. Fun? Why is it like this? Docker compose up. Build. Let's try building locally. Okay. While that's doing its thing, and I'm pondering why this is broken now, I'm gonna take a little break. For real this time. Refill my water, stretch my legs, all that stuff. I'll be back in just a few minutes, and we'll come back to trying to make GitHub Actions deploy our code. Hopefully we'll get some progress on that, and then we'll probably switch over to working on user sign up, registration, email confirmation things, something along those lines. All right, BRB in just a few. All right, I am back. And the good news is that it's still bad news running locally. So that's at least consistent. Okay, so npm run build. So npm install works like if we just do npm install here. So we're doing something in our code which is dependent upon a package. Something changed there. Hold on, let's try npm run build here. Try it directly. So something changed. There was a dependent bot pull request that I merged since the last stream for material UI. Yeah, same thing. Okay, so let's do this. Let's add to let's npm I save dev styled components. See if this fixes it. Cannot read properties of null. That is never seen that before. Huh. npm ls styled components. Interesting, right? So we changed this last stream. We added that setting because that fixed the problem. So okay, so now that works, right? Also interesting, I don't think I've ever seen this output like this before. Okay. Okay, so oh wait, no. I wanna actually build that container again. Oh hey, Sebi Lazaro. Thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it. So, I suspect that this is going to break things, though. Like this setting. Hi, very reactive on Twitch. Oh, what is that emote? I can't tell. Nice. Let me. All right. Yeah. I've not seen a ton of web dev stuff. It's a hard. Oh yeah. I see. Yeah, I see it. Sorry, I have. I have OBS on one screen, but the text over there and like all the stuff is really tiny. And then I have another screen, but it's kind of further away, so I gotta kind of squint to make out what's going on over there. But yeah, there's a lot of like game dev stuff, and I did that at some point. I think last coding stream I mentioned, we were talking about maybe doing some like Minecraft like modded dev. I might do like a watch me figure out how to make a mod at some point when this is kind of done-ish. So I'll be adding to the kind of the game dev stuff going on. But yeah, for now, I've not seen a ton of other web dev, React kind of stuff. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't, in my day job, get a lot of time to spend on this kind of stuff anymore. So it's kind of fun to carve out some time to do this and try to remember how to do all of these things again. Speaking of which, all right, so if I Docker compose up now, we'll use that new image and it's going to be broken. I know it's going to be broken. Localhost 3000. Maybe not. What changed? Yeah, hold on. I forgot that I gotta put in this MFA code. Gotta have MFA for everything. Try signing in with a different account, it says. No, sign in with that account. Authorize. Interesting. Oh, right. I never set the user stuff in the local database. Okay. But I'm pretty sure that last time... Hold on. It's a console. So last time there was an issue where we hit this page and there was a big warning. Okay, so whatever the issue was before, where we needed style components true there, I guess has gone away. So that's not great. Okay. So anyway, stop that. Okay. Remove setting that appear, NextJS setting that appears to not be used anymore. I'm gonna read that message. Any second now. Okay. Currently practicing my fetching data. Error 400 is killing me. I don't know if it's me, the problem, or if one I get the data from. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. Like 400 error code should mean it's like the client, aka you, is doing something wrong, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're. That could mean like the data doesn't make sense for the API, or a field is missing, or any number of things, right? So it's not super helpful. Okay. Right, I need to make another release. Trigger the workflow again. I could change the GitHub action to make it so I could manually invoke the workflow. If I did that, is there anything else I would need to pass in? Doesn't like that. Unrecognized name value GitHub. Tag to build and push. Are we using tag? No. No, that's just so we should just be able to, yeah, cool. Okay. Give it up, Copilot. I don't want to do that. All right. So now let's also allow manual dispatch of release for testing. There we go. So this way we don't have to make up a bunch of releases. Yeah, that's the word. Like, we don't have to add a bunch more releases here. Instead, we can just go over to actions, and we can go to build and push release, and how do we? No, not that button. How do we do that? Oh, I think that might have to be merged first before that shows up here. Yeah, okay, well. Alright, cool. I'm just gonna merge it. Oh, I think I made this so I can't skip the checks. Can I? So many side panel things. Okay, so git push origin develop. Can I cheat? Nope. Alright, we'll just give this a minute to run. Yeah, it should be done soon. It's just pushing to chromatic. Okay. How long does this step normally take? Minute 22 apparently. Okay, almost there then. Alright, I'm gonna close down some of these tabs while we wait. How to use Docker Compose to run multiple instances of a service in a deployment. Yeah, that's really old. Alright, and this, I guess we're still waiting for confirmation this stuff is gonna work, right? We didn't get that far because we weren't able to build the image. All right, so if I go back to this pull request, okay, it's just comparing. It hasn't found anything different. It shouldn't find anything different. I'm not changing anything to do with the UI, but we'll see. We'll see. So back to the list. Okay, so write a script to run on server, to run Docker Compose, to pull changes and restart services. We did that. Add GitHub Action to copy infrastructure folder, run script. And we're working on it now, but it's basically there. I think we'll have to come back to these things another day. It's not super pressing. We have no users. We may never have users. This is not exactly... I'm not trying to build a business here. I'm making an app for me and for a friend, and maybe it'll be something more, but you know, that's not the goal exactly with this app. So once Dramatic has decided that everything looks good, we'll get this merged and give it another try, and we'll see, you know, where that takes us, and then probably it's about time to kind of shift gears and go back over to kind of more front end ish things. So we're using like NextAuth for Next.js. That for like logging in. I've not really looked at like how to use like doing user setup, if there's like any kind of anything out of the box for that. So that'll be something we can just kind of look at together. Let's get some docs going for that while we're waiting. NextAuth. This thing. So, pages, sign in, maybe there's just sign in and error pages. So what if we want to do like I'm a new user, I want to sign up and like create a user account? Does that exist? Or is this just, I mean, like under the hood, this has like providers, right? And we have a thing that's like, okay, adapters. So like we're using the Prisma adapter. Visit auth.js.dev for up-to-date documentation. Guides, basic, full stack. Pages, callback session. Okay, event, sign in, sign out, create user. Okay, so how do we get there? How do we, let's see, events, create user, set when the adapter is told to create a new user. Okay, great. So we have providers, and we're currently using Discord. I might add some other things there, but Discord was like an easy thing to reach for. Okay, adapters, Prisma. Okay, naming conventions, returns. Okay, NextAuth. Okay, I think we'll just have to dive into the code to see what we can see, but this is finished. So let me merge this. And let's give this whole deploy process a try. So if we go back to actions now, and we go to our build and push release. There we go, run workflow. So we can manually invoke the workflow now. And there we go. It appears. Hopefully, adding this manual invocation does not introduce new problems on top of the problems that we're testing for. There we go. So we will see. So it's gonna... have I used GraphQL? I have used GraphQL on a couple of projects in the past. Is your fetching of data involved? Does that involve calling GraphQL? You may. I mean, you already have asked me a question, but you can ask me more questions. I'm fine with that. No. Don't worry about it. I'm just kidding. Because, yeah, I'm having trouble getting the data from the API server I'm using as an endpoint. So it sounds like maybe you're working on a React app. You're in the front end. It's calling fetch to a GraphQL endpoint, and you're getting some kind of error back. Pokédex. Okay. Is this an API that you made, or is this like something that's out on the internet? Is there, I mean, maybe there is a licensed Pokédex GraphQL database? Yes, which one? If you want to whisper me, I'm guessing that was maybe that was a link that got intercepted. So you're getting back some kind of error. What kind of error are you getting back? Yes. Well, that's on me. Like, I turned on a bunch of things because, I don't want people... Like, the first person who ever chatted in the stream, maybe it was just a bot, right? But it was a user that chatted and it was, like, spam. That was the first thing anyone chatted to me on Twitch was, spam. So, I wouldn't want... Yeah, anyway. Okay. 400. Yep. So you're posting to this GraphQL API, and you're getting a 400 error back. I'm assuming this is happening in like a web browser, right? So you're, in Chrome or Firefox or something, and in the dev tools, if you look at the request where you're getting the 400 back, is there like a response body that has like an error about what's gone wrong? All right, and this is complaining about our SSH config. So I'm liking this because I'm I'm troubleshooting your error and troubleshooting my error at the same time, and that's fun to me. Speaking of which, I have no idea what file. Oh, right. So in this file, the file that I currently have open, right? So, line 2, no argument after keyword host name. So our SSH host environment variable wasn't there. Maybe because secrets the SSH host wasn't there? Is this... See, secrets context. Okay. It's your first time using GraphQL? Yeah, no worries. I would say definitely look at like the response you're getting back, not just like the error code, like the HTTP code, but if there's any kind of, hopefully there's a response body, like the GraphQL API will give you back like a body, like a GraphQL, like a JSON response. It should anyway. With the GraphQL APIs I've worked on, they do, right? And if there's like a syntactic problem, it should give you back something. let's see, 400 though. Actually, that is kind of weird because typically with the GraphQL APIs that I've called, you always get back like a 200 response with like a response body. But a 400 might be like, is this API behind some kind of like authentication where you need to like authenticate first and you need to send a send a HTTP header with like authentication like bearer token or something? Because yeah, that's something, having built GraphQL APIs for folks to use. That is one thing that has tripped up people in the past. It's like they get back an error, but they don't get back. They get back a 200 error or a 200 status code because the error is like from the thing GraphQL is dealing with versus, yeah, you could get a 400 if you're like not authenticated. If it was like an authenticated API, or I mean, it could be the wrong URL. It's not the GraphQL endpoint. And so whatever you're calling that's not the GraphQL endpoint is doesn't know what to do with your GraphQL/JSON request, and so gives you back a 400. Okay, so secrets context is a thing. $secrets GitHub token. So permissions, content suite, pull request write, steps used with token. So here we go. So we have right, they're for an environment. Right, they're for an environment. So how do we? So here's something. I think it's how you use the, yeah. Don't know. A thing I do know that I don't know is that I have not used GitHub Actions in the context of an environment, and I decided that when I was setting up these secrets, I would make it like a production environment. So there's this thing in GitHub called environments that you can deploy to. You can configure environments with protection rules, variables, and secrets. But how do I tell the workflow to run? Okay, so here we go. Here's a question. GitHub. Actually, I have this fancy thing here. So how do I run a GitHub action workflow on an environment? So let's use AI. This is actually, yeah, this is the first time I've actually, now that I'm in the GitHub Copilot chat beta, that I've actually typed in a question like this. So we'll see what it does. It's thinking. Maybe there's some option that we need to pass here in the workflow, so it can be parameterized by target environment to deploy to. Okay, so let's see what it says. To have a GitHub action workflow on an environment, you can use the on keyword in your workflow file to specify the event that triggers. Sure, okay. You can use env. Sure, my secrets. that doesn't answer the question. How? Yeah. Let's go back to environments here. Learn more. Here we go. Environments, environment secrets, environment protection rules are available. How environments relate to deployments. When a workflow job that references an environment runs. Okay. Okay, so defaults permissions for name. Nope. Jobs. Container environment. Production. Think that'll work? Okay, here we go. The environment that the job references. Hey, okay, so the docs, Copilot was not so helpful, but the docs said that the workflow needs to target an environment. Yep, okay. So, right, and we're on a branch that no longer exists, so we'll git fetch, git checkout main, okay, git stash, git checkout main, git stash pop, git pull, git stash pop. Okay. And then, oh, right, before I tried to push directly to develop, but develop's not a branch I'm using because I just have one trunk branch. So that wasn't going to work anyway. I bet though that I should still have permission to, okay, so let's just try target production environments and workflow. Aha, I've foiled myself. Okay. Add target. It's faster to click that icon to push a branch than it is to do anything else. Check out main, get rebase. No, we can do get reset hard head and back one. There we go. So now main matches what's on main in GitHub, and I just have to open a new pull request. Auto merge it. And in the meantime, we'll do... Oh, actually, here's a thought. No, that's not going to work. I was going to say, well, we could go to actions and do a manual thing, but I think that would still... I suspect... Let's find out. So if we dispatch, if we do this workflow dispatch event trigger, right? But we... Oh, use the workflow from... Will this use the definition of the GitHub action from the branch? Or will it still use the definition of the workflow from main? It uses the one from the target branch. Okay. Cool. So I don't have to make additional releases so that I don't have to wait for the pull request. Okay, well, while we're waiting for this, let's do a little poking around in the code. to figure out like how are we gonna interface. We're gonna kind of switch gears a little bit. We're gonna have my mind is gonna be in two places because we're waiting for this, so we can debug that. But we're also going to look at what's going on with our authentication, which we're using NextAuth. So we have auth options and get server session from NextAuth. We have Prisma adapter. We have Discord provider from NextAuth. And so this is getting these various environment variables. Also things that will be broken. Oh, right. That's probably why I couldn't authenticate when we were running inside of Docker locally. Is that these things were not present. But so we are pulling from this file somewhere. Authentication. Right, so we have this page. Pages API auth, NextAuth. Okay. So what does this return? What is this? Auth options. No authentication, not authorization. Pages. So there is a... So maybe there is a new user page that we could get to. Okay, so I want to run Docker Compose up again. All right, so configure SSH work, copy infrastructure directory to prod did not work. Come back to that in a second. Okay, so how does our existing login button work? Right, so we have site nav. Right, so on desktop, we have a button somewhere. Login, on login. Okay, so that just goes back up to handle login, which we just call sign in, which is coming from NextAuth React. So what else is in NextAuth React? Get session, use session, get providers, get CSRF token. That reminds me of something. Pause that. Pause the thing that... Three things in play now. Add check for places to handle CSRF token checks. Settings page. Is there anything? Okay, that requires some further thought. I just realized looking at that, the fact that there is a thing for getting a CSRF token that I had not really thought a lot about. Cross-site request forgery, which is what CSRF stands for those that didn't know. So there's sign in and sign out. Are there other... I was thinking there might... Oh, documentation. Yes. Okay. So sign out, sign in, get providers, get session, use session. I was thinking there might be a function to like take the user to a create login page. I guess... Let's look at adapters really quick as well. So, not adapters, sorry, providers. Maybe it's more integrated. Discord provider options. Alright, so here's the information you can get back from Discord profile. And then here's like all the config stuff. Like where do you get authorization, profile. So this builds a profile from Discord. I wonder... Maybe we don't need to, or rather, maybe we do need to do something, but part of the thing is already solved. I wonder if this will, create the user record if you click the login with Discord, and there isn't a user account for you in the application. Built-in supports that, supports stateless authentication with any backend, runs anywhere, own your own data, secure by default. Yeah. Who can sign in and how often sessions have to be validated. What about, so you have example code. There's an example app. Maybe we can take a look at that. But let's check in back. Let's hop around a little bit more. Permission denied. Well, nothing secret in there, right? Yeah, good. Secrets are opaque. Load key. Prod.key. Error and lib crypto. Did we? Okay, so let's deploy and now. Okay, I can't remember the name of the file. It's in here. This one. Yeah, prod.key. Identity file SSH prod.key. Load key, error and lib crypto. Okay. I've probably configured something wrong then in the secret. So that's not something I can deal with on stream. Because I can't give you all my credentials. So instead, let's look at what's going on with user sign up. Yeah. So if I want this to actually work, hold on, I need to, how am I going to do that either? Right, so I have a .env file, like when I was not running the local dev stuff in Docker. Let's see, how do I want to do this? I need to open this in a new window, take this off the stream, and yep. So the issue is that none of the like Discord auth stuff is going to work without the token, and that was available when I was running things locally because I had this .env file that things were being read from. I mean, it's still trying to read it. It looks like it read it. So maybe there's not a problem. Yeah, okay. Then why doesn't this work? API auth sign in. Yeah. Try setting in with the different accounts, right? Because there's no account. Okay, so let's take a look at what they're doing here, right? So they have some stuff. Do we have like a... Yeah. Layouts or a header maybe that has like login button. Sign in. Sign out. Okay. Prisma adapter. Okay. If the user first signs in with no auth provider, then their email address is automatically populated. Yeah. Oh, I wonder... I have a thought. Let's go back here. So we're running Prisma Studio, right? That's not gonna work anyway, right? Because it's currently, it doesn't know how to talk to, like it's using Prisma to connect to the database, but the database is running inside of a Docker container. It doesn't know how to connect to it. So instead, let me just run pgadmin. I think maybe the issue is just that the there is a user account, or part of a user account that was created by Prisma Seed, and that's somehow conflicting with what NextAuth is trying to do. Maybe. So let's see here. We have various tables. We have a user table. All rows. Let's just delete myself. Okay, there's a bunch of data. And I don't have like cascading or anything set up because it's not always a good idea. Okay, can I do this now? Yes. Great. So, can we sign in now? Nope. Okay, I would like to persist logs. There we go. Okay, so we post here, and that sends us back to here with a code. Error equals OAuth create account. Okay, let's just NextAuth create user. If the user signs in for the first time, a user will be created in the database. Will it? Okay. So I think the good news is that it seems like the intent here is that if you sign in for the first time, it'll create a user account for you. The flip side of that is we want to actually control that. We don't want just anyone to be able to sign up, at least right now. So how do we control that? Could not create OAuth provider user in the database. Okay, that's the error. So why is that the case? Is there data already in here? No. Is there data in session? There shouldn't be. Basically, there should be no data in most of these tables because the seed data only created the user and the meal information, right? So could not create OAuth provider user in the database. Why not? Do we have something here? Oh, hey, look. There's something in the console that I've just been ignoring this whole time. All right, so the error was adapter error create user unknown arg image in data.image for type user create input. Did you mean email? Okay, so what does it mean? What it means is that in authentication, and then in our Prisma schema, so we define a user like this with all these fields, and they have defaults a lot of the time, or they're optional, they're nullable. Some are not optional or nullable. And yeah, so the NextAuth adapter for Prisma doesn't know how to take the information it's getting back from Discord and use that to create the user record. Yeah, so this is a very long doc string. It's explaining how you're supposed to use this. There must be a way to customize. Okay, so Prisma adapter just takes Prisma. So I'm guessing redirect and sign in. What does it do? Use this callback to control if a user is allowed to sign in. Interesting. We're probably going to want that anyway. Console.log sign in check params. We're going to want to look at that because this is probably how we're going to be able to control whether users are allowed to like sign up, since those things are so intertwined. You got it? Awesome. You just need to put the ID and declare how much data you'll get. Okay. Nice. I'm glad you were able to figure it out. Okay, so it doesn't look like the place where we can plug in this relationship between what we get back from Discord and the adapter in callbacks. Maybe there's some other option. Those are not looking promising. Let's see. Let's go back to the docs. Pages, database, providers, options. Or maybe the option is on the provider. That's not looking too promising though. Auth. Name, profile, region, style token, well known. Okay, so let's look. I want to look at providers. Okay, so there's a bunch of options. Most to do with like how we talk to the OAuth provider for like the service we're using for authentication. I wonder if there's anything in here though. When using an OAuth 2 provider, the user information must be requested. Use the URLs to refer to a certain provider. Yeah, ID, version, profile checks, client, secret. User info. A user info endpoint returns information on the logged in user. It's not part of the OAuth specification, but usually available. There are 3 ways to use this option. You can either set user info to be full URL, use an object with URL and params like this, completely take control of the request where we, okay. No, this is kind of the other side of this. This is specifying how it's getting the information, not how it's taking the information to ingest it. Profile. Did it talk about the profile option at all? Besides this line here? Thanks. Right. The result of this method will be input to the profile callback. And here it shows, yeah, so I think this is where we'll translate the information into our data model. Return all the profile information you need. Okay, so that was an option to the provider. So what we want to do here is we want this to be typed to be this type. Let's look at the type as defined here. So we take OAuth user config. Okay, omit options and type from this partial. Okay, and this is this. Awaitable user. Interesting. T or promise like a T. Okay. Yeah. So it's not image anyway. It's avatar. I don't know, we'll see if this actually works. Or this is something that Copilot dreamed up. Yeah, a bunch of things are missing. It's fine. We want to say partial. Let's do this. So let's say const user equals unknown is not assignable. Yeah, I know. Just so the issue here is that the type for profile that it's supposed to return, it's a user that is going to then be taken and saved to the database, but we control the database. But the type here is not, there's no parameter. Like we can parameterize. What can we parameterize? There was something there like this. Oh, profile. But this is what's coming from Discord, so we would not need to change that. In this context, like if it's known, Discord provider knows what it's providing, right? So actually, is there a type? Like if we just look at this, it's a Discord profile. So let's we can actually say profile as Discord profile. Okay, type string is not assignable to type number. We don't want to use that ID anyway. Okay, let's look at the schema. Right, so we're not going to assign the ID. But probably going to... How's that gonna work? How is that going to work? And why do we have a password field? It must have been there for a long time. Probably get rid of that. How did this ever work? Tokens user ID, session user ID. Exactly what that's going to do. But that's what makes it fun. Okay. Oh, we probably... Yeah, we need to stop. I do need to improve, like, you can probably make this so that this, like, live reloads rather than having to build and restart like this. Maybe that's something I can do between streams. Okay. So the issue that we ran into back here was because... Oh, that's old. Old information. Right. Let me take a note here so we don't forget where we're at on this, which is that we need to fix SSH key and GitHub production env secrets. That seems to be our blocker with this item. And require invite code to be able to sign up was something I wanted to do. And make sure users can sign up. Should be first. That's what we're doing right now. And then I think I think this was something to do. What was this? What is mjml.io? Emails. Okay, so I don't think we need to do that right now. I think when I originally wrote this, I was thinking this would be kind of a traditional, like, you put in a username and a password, or an email address and a password, and like confirm your email address and those sorts of things. But I don't know that we need to do that. If we're using like Discord or something else to do sign-ins, unless we want to have like that's a separate feature. Like if we're going to have like send you an email with like here's how you're doing on your calorie targets and those sorts of things, but it's not a feature I need to build right now. So this finished. Let's bring the app back up, and back here. We logged in, apparently. Is that true? Okay, we didn't get an error. It took us back to sign in. Is it gonna work? Nope. What's in the console? Alright, so profile ID is missing in Discord OAuth profile response. Yep. So here's what we logged. Like we added that log, right? So ID, username, etc., etc. So ID is missing in Discord OAuth profile response. I see. So that's interesting. I don't know. Okay, so we did get confirmation that the avatar is actually just, it's not the full URL. So what, presumably what Copilot gave us for this line is right. This is wrong though, right? So the, I don't like it anyway, because the database schema, it's an integer auto increment. It's like we shouldn't be using that for the account. Assuming that it's doing what it, what I think it's trying to do. I guess let's just ignore it for a minute. What else is it complaining about? It'd be neat to actually see this kind of working. I guess we don't get that far anymore because of this change. Okay. Docker compose build. Yeah, it's way too long. What could we do? We could, like the local dev one. That is the local dev Docker Compose that we're using right now. We can make it just. Oh, there we go. Oh, you know what we could do? Docker file. All right. I could. I can make a separate Docker file. Or, okay, this is putting this into app. We could probably change the Docker Compose to mount the local directory into app and then have the command be to run npm start. local docker file and then run npm start with the local directory mounted at app in the container. Yeah. Okay, so if I stop this and I do docker compose up, there we go. And so now if I'm making any like changes to say this file, user I was hoping it would, you know, set changes there. I was hoping. Mount.as/app. Okay, well, at least it starts faster and should be using like the live code. Maybe not. All right, so maybe it's not running at all. Server started on 0.0.0.0. That's unfortunate. Okay, it's not working right now. I'll have to come back to that. Let's go back to something that was definitely working. Yeah, because now it's listening to the port on the container. There, now that works. All right, so sign in, authorize. We get some errors. Right, so birth date is missing. Password is missing. So password we're not going to keep. Birth date might seem kind of weird to be like a required field, but you know, for something that's like a fitness calorie tracking thing, how old you are kind of plays into like your what your like targeted calorie amounts are and things like that. So it seemed like a good idea at the time, but I'm guessing that birth date is not something that we can just pull in from the user's profile. No, because Discord isn't weird like this app is. So what I'm just gonna do is we don't need to console log that anymore. We are going to change the schema. I will just make them nullable. Yeah. And I'm going to say email verified is true. On the assumption that if Discord is giving us the email address, that it's verified. No, I don't want to do that. No. Because I might want that email verified to represent like that we have permission to use the email address and that we verified it. Yeah. Okay. So, how do I even? Okay, so this is been a fun stream, but we're gonna stop it here. The last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to the backlog. I'm gonna go back to this item here. One of the things I'm going to do is, update database model schema with Prisma to allow birth date and password to be null. All right. Now, last week I tried to do a raid. It kind of worked. Let's see if we can do better. Let's see. So I mentioned before thinking about doing some mod pack dev, and in that vein, it's kind of different from what we've been doing here today. But I might send you a few viewers over to the Mine Colonies team. I could use a couple more viewers. That might be something that I will be deving on at some point. I'm a big fan of that mod, the Mine Colonies mod. So let's see, this tab is muted, right? Yeah, good. All right. So thanks all for hanging out, listening, chatting, all that. A new follower, really appreciate it. And until next time, bye-bye.